or connect with me offline, I will get you that information. But they do screen you first to make sure that you're qualified and you're not crazy and you're not going to do anything harmful or hurtful to the children.
Absolutely. I will reach out to both of you. Thanks for these suggestions. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure for sure. Thank you. My pleasure. Okay. I see Patrice is back online. Did you have a question or a comment? Okay. Do you want to speak? Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming to the Millennial Moms and Money Room. I am your host, Schneidine, the Millennial Mom Money. Thank you guys for coming into the Millennial Moms and Money Room. I go by the name of Schneidine, the Millennial Mom Money Expert. I teach people how to get out of debt and improve in their finances. I'm so delighted to have my co-moderator here tonight, Mary Sheffield, and also Kai with us tonight. We're here talking about money and purpose. What is your money issues? Why do you get up in the morning to make money? And what is your purpose for money? So with that, does anyone else have any questions, or Mary or Kai, do you want to add to that?
No, I'm curious to hear Miss Mary talk about purpose. I found mine, but she may have some insight that I can use. And she's really close to where I live, so that is always helpful to have somebody with insight when you're local.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I think Amber, when she just came up and she said she wants to make sure that she makes the right kind of purpose-driven decision, and she wants to make money, but she wants to also make sure that it's purpose-driven work. And I think at the end of the day, for me, purpose is always rooted in your foundation, knowing who you are and self-awareness, really using that value system. What do you value as your inner guidance and compass when you're making decisions, when you're making money decisions, or when you have different opportunities that may present themselves. And so I think values are key. Self-awareness is key when it comes to purpose. And I truly believe the more you seek after your gifts and your passions, the more money will flow to you. So in the case that Schneidine just gave, Ms. Amber, she kind of asked her, what do you like to do? Do you like tutoring? What do you like? And naturally, the more you start falling in alignment with your gifts, the things that excite you, that enjoy you, that you're passionate about, I believe the opportunities on the money side always naturally just flow too. So I'm just really here to talk a little bit more of this questions around purpose. I struggled a long time with understanding what my purpose was. And the more clear I got, and I let go of this idea of finding, right? It's not outside of me, it's who you are. You are purpose, your life is purpose. You just have to align more with who you are. The more doors begin to open up for me, that's personally and professionally, that's money related and non-money related, right? The more I got into alignment and in tune with my purpose, my true, literally all of the great things begin to happen for me. And I'm not saying that you're not going to have bad days, but things begin to flow right the more you're in alignment with your truth and the core of who you are. Because if you're not operating from a place of passion and purpose, there's a lot of unfulfillment. And I don't think that money can ever buy that, right? And so I think we always have to keep our perspective and making sure that everything we do is purpose driven, that is value driven as well too, and that aligns with the core of who we are. So that's what I would share. And I'm not sure if anyone here, I posed the question earlier, what is your purpose? I'd love to hear about that. But I think we're tying it to money tonight to support Schneiding's room. So I would love to hear, any thoughts on money and purpose. How do those two intersect? And if you have any questions on both of those, I'd love to hear.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing that with us. If anybody has any questions, you're more than welcome to raise your hand. We'll bring you up because I definitely want to hear you speak. We love to be very interactive with this room. This is a good place to be. We're happy people. We're excited. We're here to talk about money. We're here to talk about purpose. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts about that. But if we don't have anyone right now, I will give you guys a little bit of a background about me and how I got aligned with my money and purpose. So with me, I actually started from a corporate background. And what happened to me is I worked in risk management I had a very nice position. And then one day I had a brand new boss come in as an assistant director. So now, while he came in, he did not like me, and he told me that he was out to get me fired. Now, I kept coming to work, but now I came to work filled with anxiety, filled with sweaty palms. Some days I'm nervous, and I'm just like, I don't really know what's going on. So several months go by, and then the assistant director, he actually reported me to HR. Why? I don't know why, because I had always had very great, excellent, I have very great, excellent work ethic, and it always showed in my work. However, he said this and that, and the day that I got fired on a Tuesday. And when I got fired on a Tuesday, before I left, he said to me, you need to find your purpose because clearly it's not here. And I said to him, he doesn't have authority to dictate how my life goes. Only God does. And as I left that corporate office that day on a Tuesday, later on in the evening, I and my brother, we were both on a TV set to be interviewed for a nice television network. So I said, okay, so this is definitely my purpose. Yes, I got fired from a job that I personally really liked, but if you're going to a job that gives you anxiety, that gives you the bubble guts, where you're tolerated and not respected, or the people don't appreciate you, then that's just not your space. And what it really helped me with was this man put 2 double D batteries in my back to make me develop my own company, do my best to do impact to other people in their life, give people structure with their finances. And now I am living my dream and also staying home to take care of my children. So it was a win-win for me. But at that time, I was so angry and upset because I allowed a man to take food out of my family's mouth. And I vowed to myself, I said that I will never allow anybody to take food away from my family's table ever again. So ever since then, that happened about 2 years ago, I've never looked back, and I just kept pushing. So my money purpose, my money first was, yes, working corporate for the man, but it was always a rat race. But now I get to dictate how much money I make, when I want to work, when I don't want to work. And my purpose personally for me are my 2 girls. So that's me in a nutshell. Thank you for listening. If anybody has any questions or comment, or have been in the same situation, please feel free. You could come up and share your story about money and purpose. Thank you. I'm Schneidine, and I'm done speaking.
Great. Well, listen, we don't want to just talk. We want to hear from you all. So we want to encourage you all to come on up to the stage and speak. Really, however the title resonates with you. If you have a question, you have a common story, come on up to the stage and share it so that we can engage with you all and learn and grow from one another. And so I do see Lasanda is on the stage. Hey, Lasanda.
Hi, Mary. Hi, everyone. I'm Lasanda.
Hello.
Hey, I'm going to too. But, Nike, I resonate with your story because that has happened to me multiple times. And I honestly felt like I was alone because it was the same thing with me. I made a really good living. And literally what you just said about I'm not going to allow anyone else to take food out of my kid's mouth, I said the same exact thing. But I've still been struggling. I'm still looking to find that perfect place where I need to be. I shouldn't say perfect, but just like, okay, God, I keep going through like the past 5 years have been hell on wheels for me and my family. And so I used to be breadwinner, now my husband's a breadwinner, but I'm just one of those go-getters. So I'm always constantly creating things, but I'm not finishing them. So it's like, I'm really trying to focus on, okay, I gotta like organize my life so that I can actually really just start working in my purpose more so that I can be a serial entrepreneur and I can, be that woman that I'm supposed to be. Because I honestly will tell you, I had to, finally I had to get a therapist because my anxiety was so bad, my depression was so bad. About 4 years ago, I lost my baby, and like that was the last straw. And part of it was due to a job. It was the stress that I was under. So I lost my perfectly healthy 20-week-old daughter, and I had to have her cremated. And that was like the worst thing ever in my life. And so having to push through that, I finally realized last year that I got some stuff going on mentally that I'm just not, I'm hiding it. Like there's some trauma somewhere. And I learned from my therapy sessions, she did this thing called brain spotting. And I was holding on to all the issues I've had working in corporate America, being the only African-American female, you know, and just really some of the things that I was going through. I mean, I've had people say to me that, you know, I'm so articulate and I'm going to do well. And just these comments and just for the past 10 years, just it wore me down. And I honestly didn't even know that that was the problem until one day, this is the first time I've ever done this. I'd been in therapy for a while. And with COVID and everything, my husband's like, this is perfect. The kids are at home. But when I tell you, I started getting sick again, like I literally started having, my chest was hurting. I felt like I was having a heart attack. And I was so stressed. And I was like, oh my God, I really need to take this job because my current job, like I hate it. Oh my God. And honestly, I turned the job down and my stress went away. The anxiety went away. Like there are no words of how much I went through with that. Just thinking about going back into a similar situation. And so I turned it down. I'm still looking, but I honestly have come to the point where now I've had a few people tell me it's really not meant for you to go back to corporate America. It's not meant for you to go. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, God, if I don't go back there, I gotta go somewhere. So that's kind of where I am. But thank you so much for sharing that because it really did resonate with me. I'm Lasanda and I'm done speaking.
Lasanda, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I agree with you because I was the only African-American one there as well. And that's exactly what gave me anxiety going into the workplace. But I just want to say my condolences to you first and foremost on losing your child. That I cannot ever imagine how women can go through life after they have to bury their unborn baby. So I pray that God will give you strength and give you more wisdom and encouragement. And I pray that if it's his will, that you guys will try to conceive again.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you. It's Lasanda again. Yeah. I'm good. My oldest is 19. Okay. I have a 12-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter too. So, and you know, it's so crazy. I actually had a miscarriage this past May. So, So I'm a warrior for sure. You know, it's just really trying to align with, okay, God, where am I going now? It's my year for sure. So.
Yes, and on top of that, you said several other things in regards to, you know, of the corporate world and the family. Now that your husband is the breadwinner again, I know that the roles change and shift. So whatever money you have, I strongly suggest that women always save your money, no matter how much you are in love. Always save your own money because people change, circumstances change. And sometimes when the man is the leader of funds because he's the one working, things can always change. So I always advise women to always save your money, please, because life happens and circumstances always change. So thank you for sharing your story, Lasanda. Are you there? Okay.
I am.
Okay.
It's Lasanda, and you are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I see Angelita joined us on stage. Thank you so much for coming up. Please share with us any money tips that you have or money motivations that you have, and what is your purpose? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be in this room. I'm not going to talk on because that is one of my issues. I love people and love to talk. And so just a couple things that I wanted to share. My purpose with money, with my life, with relationships is really transformational. That's what I desire it to be. And I resonated with so many things Lasanda said and other people, because I won't tell the gamut of my story, but when I think about purpose, purpose is why was something created. And one of the things that helped define my purpose was actually a sermon I listened to where my pastor was talking about, are you doing what you were gifted and talented to do or created to do? And so you can do a lot of things because you have gifts and talents, but if you're not doing what you're created to do, I found that you don't really get that fulfillment sense of purpose. I am a therapist by background, educator by background, and I am navigating my unique purpose because the past 2 years, my life has been like a tsunami, meaning every single major thing has shifted, and I'm down to the last 3 getting settled. And so I'm looking to exactly what God wants me to do because He's equipped me to do a lot of things. I just need to know how they fit all together for His purpose, which is my purpose lived out. So I just want to say that, in the searching, because I'm searching, I also worked for an agency. In fact, I left my 19-year-old career job for a newly creative position in an organization. And when I got in there, they wanted me to get in and make some changes, but they really didn't want changes. I don't know if anybody's been there. My guess is probably so. And so it was title without power, if that makes sense. And so, in trying to make changes, they weren't always received because they didn't want to look at themselves and the role that they were playing. So that's a whole nother story. But I just want to quickly, before, I give the mic to somebody else, just mention that with the issue of money, one of the things that I did with my kids, I have 2 young men, now 2 boys, 18, soon to be 19 and 23. And what I did with them when they were little is I started talking to them about money and having the vision where they want to be in life and talking about how they think they get there, depending on God, of course, but what's their part in doing that? How can they make their money work for them? And so with my oldest, one of the things that I did is, when he was born, I started having $5 taken out my bank account into a bank account for him. So he would have money to use. And I got him, a credit card when he went to school. I got him a debit card for him to use, but I was paying the bills so that he would have credit on the flip side. And it also gave him a sense of accountability in terms of how money is spent. And so I've always told him that, when you think about your purpose, think about what is it supposed to be fulfilling, because we can't take any of it with us. So it's got a purpose to fulfill here. And so using it to fulfill the purpose that he's envisioned here, right? Save some, keep some, spend some, give some away, bless others. But it's all got to have a sense of what do you want it to do? And that's what I've talked to my kids about. What do you want it to do? Because that, to me, directs on some of the beginning steps that you take with it. So my name is Angelita, and I will stop talking. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us, Angelita. We really appreciate that. Yeah, so what you just said about money and making it work for you, that is a vital step. And I love the fact that you actually shared with your child about the money and paying for their bill. That way that they could build up their credit and also keep it clean. That's a very important part about keeping your credit clean. So that's amazing. And I hope that they kept it up, because making money work for you is vital. And I also do suggest too, investing in many different things. That way you could be making money in your sleep. For example, like one, of course, some people want to do ETF stock investing. Like for me, if I have a son and he says, Mom, I want to buy the Nike sneakers, I said, why don't we invest in a Nike stock instead? Whatever payout dividends that you have that comes out of that, then we could buy the Nikes with the profit. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
And that's why I tell multiple streams, you know, but when you can get to the point where you're living off of what it's bringing in, right? The excess, like if that's part of your purpose and goal, then target that and think about how to start at the end and work it back from the beginning. So I love that. I love that.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us tonight and sharing the platform here with us tonight too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does Kai or Mary want to say anything?
In regards to that, I can go on and on. I was a female military member as a police officer with a security clearance that typically only males had. I was AWOL recovery specialist, which means I had to go find people that were AWOL. So just financially, I was paid less, but I did the same job. And it's just like you all just said, it follows you until you learn your purpose. And once you learn your purpose, you don't have to do all that hard work of proving yourself to anyone, anywhere about anything. You kind of make money doing what you were already designed to do. I always liked teaching things, but it wasn't necessarily in the school setting that I liked teaching things. So I have all these degrees and all these different avenues of therapy. And I've learned that what I'm doing currently is my therapy, and I'm still teaching. It's just a different avenue of teaching. It's not traditional teaching, but my non-traditional teaching actually worked during COVID because everybody was at home anyway. So me teaching virtually actually became an asset, a profitable asset, and it became an actual commodity that people were reaching out to me like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you teach this? And because I was already doing it, had so many years vested in it, that I was the person that they used to teach other people to do it. So like Mary said, like Schneidine said, like Miss Angelita just said, you have to kind of you have to know what your niche is. And once you learn your niche and your purpose, your divine alignment will happen and the money will come to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I definitely agree with that. And that goes without saying too, because sometimes when we work, we got to do things that we are very passionate about, things that we love, things that excite us. Because if we keep going to our job and working for the man, getting up every single day tired, then it's very likely that you start to have a lot of anxiety, go into that job. You build animosity with your coworkers or your boss, because sometimes when we are at work, we are also persecuted by the by the coworkers or your boss. And sometimes people just don't want to go to work. That's why I always say sometimes it's very good for us to work on ourselves, work for our own business, continue working hard to gain everything that you want to gain and work when you want to work. So that's my take on it. I'm Schneidine and I'm done speaking. Does anybody want to come up to share their story on money and purpose? Okay, so we don't have any takers already. Mary, do you want to say anything else on purpose?
No, I just would encourage everyone to continue to re-examine, reset and refocus constantly on who you are. I mean, life is about evolving, growth, change. Life experiences happen to us, and is a constant, I think it's a constant self-reflection, self-discovery process that we have to be committed to. The more that we're committed to understanding who we are, really diving into ourselves and our values, because our values can change, right? The values that I have today are not the same values I had when I was in my early 20s. And so the way I navigate and approach life and opportunities is a lot different now. And so I would just encourage people to understand that, you know, purpose is a journey, it's not a destination, and really be committed to the journey and being more aware of what God may be trying to show us in this present moment. I think oftentimes we're always worried about the next thing. We want advancement, we want, you know, whatever's coming next, but we forget about the now and what God could be trying to show us in our present situations and in our present circumstances. And so I would just say the more we can get a better understanding of us, the better we can get a better understanding of our gifts, our God-given gifts, the greater I believe we'll have an increase from a financial perspective. And so hone in on those gifts, hone in on those passions, hone in on those things that you enjoy doing, those things that people naturally come to you for and ask you for advice. Strive to be a person who solves problems, a problem solver, and a person of value. You know, just becoming a person of value. Money is attracted to value as well too. I think it naturally becomes, and so if you become a problem solver as well too, money naturally will flow to that as well too. So I would just say continue to focus on becoming the highest and best version of yourself. And in doing that, I can guarantee you all the success will come right along with it. And that's from a financial perspective to whatever else you define as success. The more you begin to focus on you improving yourself, everything else follows behind. So thank you, Schneidine, and I've enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you, Mary, for being here with us tonight.
Schneidine, what do you think are some money blockages that people have? Or you think there's some mindset shifts that need to take place?
Oh, yes. Well, there are several things. One is definitely mindset. Some people want to make money. Some people are scared to make it. When they make it, they're actually emotional spenders. That's what I call them, because as soon as they get the money in their hands, they're already quick to spend it. Let's go shopping. Let's go get bags. Let's go get shoes. Let's go out to dinner and spend $300. And then later on, the next week, they have to pay their rent or mortgage, and they're scratching their head like, where's the money going to come from for us to try to pay rent or mortgage? You know what I mean? So the whole thing with money, people love to make it. You work hard to make your money, but you spend your money so much faster. So I always say to people, always save for a rainy day. If people took my advice a long time ago and really saved, when COVID hit, then they would not have to be at the mercy of the government, waiting to get SNAP benefits, waiting to get some kind of funds for their families, or, you know, having to go to pantries. I'm a supporter of people going to pantries, but I don't want people to live in a poverty mindset where they feel like they have to do things like that all of the time. So money, you can make it, and you could easily make money, right? As long as you have skills, a skill set, and you have talent, you can make money. But one thing I want to share with people is this also. No matter how your bank account looks today, it's not where you start, but it's where you finish. So you can always make money for tomorrow. So I'm Schneidine. I've enjoyed these conversations tonight with you guys, and I am done speaking. So thank you guys for coming out, and we'll do this again another time.
Well, thank you for everyone being here, and hopefully we will see you guys soon on Clubhouse. Everyone have a wonderful and blessed evening.
Yes.
You as well. Have a great night on purpose, you guys.
Yes, you too, Kai. Thank you, Angelita. Bye-bye. Thank you for sharing your time here with me. I'm Millennial Mom Money Expert, Schneidine, of course, and I will see you the very next time. Bye-bye for now.